Hello, welcome to a video called SongVisualizer version 0.7C alpha. I am in the process of trying to improve the performance. So I've had a problem with this program in its current status or lifespan, whatever you call it. And whenever I run it on a Windows computer, I get laggy movement, jittery movement. It's not consistent. It's not very smooth. So you may notice on my Mac, I stream on my Mac usually when I make these videos. So when I record these guitar videos, I usually have two computers going. One, my Windows computer connected to display my Mac computer. My Mac computer ironically has smooth movement, very um, great to play with because, when we're playing guitar, looking at these notes, every jittery movement is not great, right? Because, you want the notes to be smooth, predictable. And if suddenly there's like a jump in movement or it's jittery or whatever you call it, it's not very enjoyable. And so I've been trying to focus on that. And what I learned is that, well, primarily, I'm using Python, Pygame, PyGuitarPro. The main thing is Pygame. Pygame lets me display everything, draw rectangles, draw text, render it. Well, actually, however you want to describe rendering on CPU. But for the longest time, I did everything on the CPU. I draw it, blit it, whatever you call it, and then CPU does everything. It does all that stuff. But it turns out that even things such as calculating delta time velocity or updating every note and doing all this stuff, drawing the images, drawing the rectangles, calculating the velocity, moving the notes through velocity, drawing, blitting the notes, doing all this tasks through the CPU, it builds up, right? So lately I've been learning OpenGL language, learning shaders, GLSL, and one thing that I learned about this shader is OpenGL. So OpenGL is basically a graphics card language that's embedded inside of Python using a ModernGL Python library. And this allows me to calculate um, things on the GPU side rather than the CPU. Things like the delta time, the velocity, rendering the notes, calculating the delta time or where the notes should move to. So at the moment in this version, I spent past today's Thursday. I spent like all week after work, all my free time until midnight. Just I can't stop writing this. And in this version, I have the notes rendering through the graphics card. While it's not perfect, you can see some jittery movements here and there. I think it's an overall improvement to move the calculations away from the CPU and into the GPU. Now I still have CPU drawing and blitting because when I moved over to ModernGL, Pygame, PyOpenGL, OpenGL, whatever you call it, I had to do a different way of I can't do updating just portions of the screen anymore. So in CPU side, you're able to only render or re-render portions of the screen. So previously in the CPU version for the notes, I would just update the previous frame where I previously drew on it, and I would have to manually define, okay, I drew on this section, I'm going to erase it. And now I'm doing something differently in here. In this version, I'm just erasing the whole screen on every frame and having to redraw everything. So I have the GPU rendering the notes and the CPU drawing everything else. The CPU is drawing the buttons, the text, the song text, the measure text, the frets. So this isn't ideal. So like every frame, I'm converting everything from that CPU side into a texture, and in that texture, I am converting that texture into the GPU. So there's still room for improvements. I could add more GPU calculations, like for the entire screen, all the buttons and all the text and everything, make that all GPU side. The thing is that I have several screens going on. I have the open GP5 screen, the stat screen, the tempo screen, pitch screen, and each of those screens, they have to work, and it's kind of tricky. And I'm noticing that the video here is slowing down. That's rather unfortunate. I didn't experience this much of a slowdown while recording the video on my screen. But overall, it's a work in progress. That's why I call it alpha, whatever. Even in this version, I don't like how the sustains are. Hey, I got cut off there, 5 minutes mark on this free website I'm using to upload my audio. So this is just a second chunk. But overall, the video is just about to end anyway, and I'm just trying to make a quick devlog or whatever you call it, update my progress on this program. I'm not giving up on it. I like that in Windows, if I record videos, I might get better note speed display on my videos than the Mac. Or who knows, we'll see. But yeah, overall my goal is to make smooth movement. Okay, see you next video.